goes away. The things I plan to say, oh baby.
All right, for our first flip-flop craft, I'm going to show you how to make this awesome wreath using flip-flops that you can hang on your front door. So the first thing you're going to need is a lot of flip-flops, and I believe I used 10 pair of flip-flops to make this wreath. And first, I started by cutting off the end of each of the flip-flops. And now I have extra pieces. So these are my flip-flops, and I'm just trying to configure how they're going to sit. So I have 4 first, and then using some craft sticks, I just secured the 4 flip-flops together. And this was totally a work in progress. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna give it a go. So I just used more and more craft sticks and secured them with the hot glue to the back of the flip-flops. So that is what it ends up looking like, and this is the base for our wreath. And now I have to fill in all of the empty spaces, so I'm going to use more flip-flops and fill in as much of the empty space as I can. So I decided to make this a little stronger, so I took a piece of a Dollar Tree sign. This was actually from Easter. I removed the embellishment, and then I secured the sign to the back of the flip-flops. And this is why I never throw away any spare pieces from different projects, because you never know when you're going to need them. All right, so now I have 3 more pair of flip-flops, and I'm going to arrange these, and I'm going to start by cutting off the ends, and then I'm going to arrange them, and these are going to be like little pops of color that are going to come through on the finished project. And then I just secured the flip-flops to the board. And because I was running out of room, I decided to remove the, I don't know what you call this, the part that your foot gets held on to the flip-flop with. I took that piece off, and then I cut down the flip-flops so that they can still be secured onto that wooden sign. And I just secured them in place with some more hot glue. And here is how our flip-flop wreath is looking. And I took some of those extra pieces and just filled them in, so it looks like the blue flip-flops are like going all the way around the bottom part of our wreath. And then I took a pair of the red flip-flops and secured them in place on top of the wreath. And next I made a hanger, and I just secured the hanger to 2 of the red flip-flops using some jute twine. And then I attached this It's a Beach thing to the front. And I did find this It's a Beach thing house or sign, whatever you want to call it, at the Dollar Tree. And I just secured that to the front of the wreath where those two flip-flops meet in the center. And I know flip-flop wreaths have been done many times before, but I really like how this turned out. It's super cute. I think it's pretty original, and it was really easy to make. All right, on to the next flip-flop craft, and this is a welcome sign. Isn't this adorable? And almost everything that I used to make the sign, I was able to find at the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I did was take a child's pair of flip-flops and a Valentine sign just to make sure that this is going to be the right size. And then I removed the foot holder, I guess that's what you can call it, from the flip-flops. And next I took some spackle compound and I just put that all over the front of the flip-flops because I wasn't sure how the paint was going to adhere. So I wanted to make sure I had a nice smooth surface for the paint to stick to. And then using a stem from an artificial flower, I poked it through the holes and removed the excess spackle. Now I'm going to make some new, whatever those things are called, like where your feet go. It holds your feet on the flip-flop. And I want this to look like it's braided, so I'm going to take some jute twine and I'm basically just going to make a long braid. And I think this was probably about 3.5 feet long. And I secured 3 pieces of the jute using masking tape onto my workspace, and then I just braided the cord. Next, I am taking my Valentine sign and a Happy Easter sign, but I'm only going to use the Happy Easter part, and the other part, the stake part of it, I'm going to use that for another project. So I measured how long I wanted this to be, and the Happy Easter is going to be the welcome part, but I do need to cut that down to size. And it was just flipping through and trying to find a paper that would work. And I found the best paper. This is exactly what I wanted. But I decided, you know what, let's look and see if there's another paper that might make a really nice backing. And that one is kind of nice, but I like the white one better. Ooh, but I do like this. So I decided to tear a sheet of this paper out. That's really pretty. And then I just kind of played around with my sign to see which one I liked better. And that one is kind of pretty, but that one is my favorite. The whitewash board, that's what we're going to use for the back of our sign. And to make sure it's going to fit, I just used my scissors on one little corner. Then I got my cutting tool and put the paper in there and lined it up so it was nice and even. And presto, I have the exact size that I need for my sign. And next I just secured that paper onto the sign itself using some craft glue, which I did get in a Michael's grab bag. And look, it already has a frame around it. And next I took the hanger and I removed one side of it and I just threaded some wooden beads through because I want the hanger to just be like a beaded hanger. And when I was finished, I just tucked the end back through. And it's already secure and I have a beaded hanger for my sign. All right, our flip-flops are ready to paint. And I used Folk Art chalk paint, and this is in the color Cascade. It's kind of a turquoise color. And I just painted the top of the flip-flops. And while that was drying, I took my Happy Easter sign that I had cut down and I painted that with chalk paint as well. And I believe this is oatmeal. And again, this is Folk Art chalk paint. And I actually got all of these chalk paints in a nice kit that I found on Amazon. And the sign took 2 coats of the chalk paint. And there is that imperfection in the center from where I removed it from the Happy Easter sign, but that's okay. It doesn't affect it. And then I used some tan mocha paint, and this is just regular acrylic paint, and I painted the edge of the flip-flop in this brown color. And then I went around the edge of the top of the flip-flop with the brown color as well. And then I used some white paint while that top edge was still wet, and I just kind of added a little bit of white accent all the way around the edge. And then I duplicated that on the other flip-flop as well. All right, so now our sign is dry. So using my Cricut machine, I cut out some letters that say welcome, and then I just secured that onto the sign. And this is that awesome transfer tape that I bought on Amazon. I bought a huge roll of it and it was less than $20. So this is probably the best transfer tape I have ever used. And there's my welcome sign. All right, so now we are just about done with this project. We just need to put the braided pieces onto the flip-flop that would hold your foot in, and I still don't know what that's called. So I cut down the braided jute that we had made earlier, and I secured two separate pieces onto the flip-flop. And to make sure the braid didn't come apart, I did use some hot glue on either end. And then I just put some hot glue into those holes and secured the braid. So once I had my flip-flops done, then I just kind of played around to see how I wanted them to sit on my sign. And then I also used the welcome sign to see where I wanted it to go. Then I secured the flip-flops to the sign with hot glue. And then I took some Spanish moss and put that over top of the flip-flops. This will be showing behind the welcome sign. I like it because it gives a little extra depth of feel to the sign. And then using some more hot glue, I secured the welcome sign on top of the flip-flops and over top of the Spanish moss. Look at how cute that is. This is probably my favorite project of all 3 of these. What do you think? Make sure you leave me a comment down below which of these flip-flop crafts is your favorite. We are on to the last craft, and this is a flip-flop art piece, I guess you could call it. And I made this, of course, using Dollar Tree flip-flops, but they didn't always look like this. Here's how they looked when I first started. This is 3 pair of men's large flip-flops. And of course I had to remove all of the tags. And then I removed the piece that I cannot think of what it's called. I removed all of those from the flip-flops as well. But I'm not going to get rid of these because I am going to be using them for this project. And again, I'm going to use the spackle compound just to make this as uniform as I can in a nice flat surface for the paint to stick to. So each and every one of the flip-flops got a coat of the spackle material to make a smooth surface for the paint. And again, I got the excess spackle out using the stem from an artificial flower. And these are the flip-flops. Look at how cute they look. All right, so I'm going to be using some metallic paint because I want these to look like metal. And as you can see, this is a bright red metallic, and I'm doing this on 2 of the flip-flops because my flip-flops are in pairs. So I started with that and then decided what kind of pattern I was going to paint on the flip-flops. And I found that having the flip-flops next to each other really helped in my painting process because I do want them to look like they are a pair and that they were made like this. And for each coat of paint that I did do 2 heavy coats of the paint to make sure I had a nice solid colored surface. And then I painted the foot holder portion of the flip-flop as well. And I did have to do 2 coats of the metallic paint to make sure I got a really nice shiny surface on this part of the flip-flop. And this paint actually works really well for painting this type of a plastic surface. I was really impressed how well it worked and it adhered. All right, so now the red portion of this pair of flip-flops is done. So then I decided to use, it's kind of a turquoise teal metallic paint as well. All of the paints that I used to paint these flip-flops were metallic paints, and I did find these at Hobby Lobby. And they happened to be on sale when I bought them. And you don't necessarily have to do this type of a pattern, but I just want to give you an idea of different patterns that you can use to make a piece of art like this. And just like my other 2 projects, these flip-flops came from the Dollar Tree. So this was 3 pair of flip-flops and then a portion of a Dollar Tree Easter sign will be used later on. But so I was able to make this piece of wall art for less than $5. And this is another patterned flip-flop that I made. Again, these were the black flip-flops, and I painted on some blue metallic paint, and then using some gold folk art paint, I painted gold lines in between the blue ones. And for my third and final pair of flip-flops, I did a really bright gold and then a brighter blue. Now, once the flip-flops had completely dried, I took some vinyl and I just cut really thin pieces of the vinyl, and then I attached it to the flip-flops, and this is going to separate the two colors. So you don't have to have perfect lines because the vinyl will help make your lines look perfect. And I did this between every different color that I used on the flip-flops. And next it was time to secure the foot holders in place. So I just used my hot glue gun and glued the top of the flip-flop onto the bottom, using the same holes that this originally fit into. And now I have custom crafted flip-flops. And then using a piece of a Dollar Tree sign that I had painted black, I just arranged the flip-flops onto that piece just to see what they would look like. And once I was happy with my configuration, I used my hot glue gun and secured the flip-flops onto that piece of wood. Next, I turned the sign over and I used a piece of cord. I don't know what this cord is, but it's a crafting cord, and I just secured it to the back. Then, to make sure that my crafting string is going to stay in place, I used larger craft sticks to really secure the hanger in place. And this is my flip-flop wall art. I love how this turned out. This is so cute and definitely a summertime piece of art which would look great in your house or even on your patio.